of my teachers gave me this the other day at my A-level ceremony. It's like to light up the world and like to light up any dark times in the future. Adorable! Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, good. Okay. Hey world. So the other day I've been watching a lot of booktubers, and some of them did the Disney book challenge or tag or anything like that. Yeah. And yeah, I love Disney, I love reading, so I thought I'd do it myself. Let's go! The first one is The Little Mermaid, so it's like a character who's out of the element. And for this I have Selection by Kiera Cass. It's a trilogy. Selection is like, it's about America, the girl who lives in the new America, and like she's in a really low level of society, and yeah, and then she gets chosen to be one of the girls who could be the next princess. So she goes into the castle and she meets the prince and everything, and of course there's a love triangle, but yeah, I think what I like the most about this is like you really feel that she doesn't really want to be there, because it's not, yeah, she's against like this society, and she's against like the king, so it's kind of weird for her to be there, but it's a really good book, all three of them, and you really should give it a try. Cinderella, a character who's been through a major transformation during the book, and for that we have About Ruby by Sarah Dessen. It's about Ruby, as it says, and Ruby is like, she lives alone with her mother, but then one day her mother leaves her just without telling her, and she kind of has to deal with being alone, and she also isn't that good in school, and she has bad friends, and then her sister kind of adopts her, and she tries to get into this new high society level, and like it isn't really high society, but yeah, she's at a normal school, and she meets this guy, and she meets new friends and everything, so like she has to learn to don't push people away, so yeah. And at the end she's really different from what she's been in the beginning, and it's a great book. The next one is Snow White, a book with an eclectic cast, so like cool characters mainly. For that I have Reckless by Cornelia Funke. Cornelia Funke is a German author, but she lives in New York, I think, and she's one of my favorite authors. She's mainly my childhood favorite author, but she does a lot of fantasy. And this is also a trilogy. I'm currently reading the third part, and I love it. I love it! It's about Jacob Reckless, who kind of, he finds this secret world where like our fairy tales are real, and then he kind of switches between the two worlds. But like, because there are two worlds, there's so many great characters. Oh, I love it! Well, oh, it's amazing. Next one. Sleeping Beauty. A book that made you sleep. And I'm really sorry to say this because I love Jane Austen, I really do. I love her style of writing because it's like so romantic and everything. And I started with Sense and Sensibility. Isn't that a wonderful cover? And I'm only halfway through. I couldn't make it to the end because it's so long. Like, honestly, I can't even tell you what happens in the first half because nothing happens. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I would love this to be not so boring. I'm sorry. Oh. Well, anyways, The Lion King is the next, and it's a character who's been through a trauma in their childhood. For that I have Scatterheart by Lili Wilkinson. This is actually the first English book I've ever completely read, and it's been for school. And it's about a girl, Hannah, who's, yeah, I think, in which century is it? I don't really know, but it's like in the far away past, so yeah. But anyways, she gets sold as a slave to, I think it's Alaska. Oh god, I really should read it again. But yeah, and I think she's only 14, 15 at that time, so she's not really a child anymore, but still, it's a trauma. It's war. We have next Beauty and the Beast, an intimidating big book that actually has a really beautiful storyline. There we have, okay, so this is a German book. I actually don't know if there's an English version. I guess if there is, it's called Julyschadow, maybe, by Antje Barbendererde. Yeah, it's really big, and it's also really, like the story is really sad and kind of dramatic. Yeah, and it's about Sim, a girl, who has to, like, as a punishment, I guess, for not being a good girl or anything, she has to go to her auntie, and she meets these two boys and they are a bad influence, but she's a bad influence as well, and they kind of influence each other in a good way because of that. It's really dramatic and it's really beautiful and you should read it. Just read it. Okay, next one is Aladdin, a character who gets a wish granted. There we have a German book again. I'm sorry. Wishful Thinking. Wishful Thinking. Okay, so Wishful Thinking by Alexandra Bullen. And it's about this girl who's been adopted, and for her 18th birthday she gets the name of her real mother. And then she meets this other girl who gives her 3 dresses. And every time she wears one of these dresses, she wishes for something, and then she does a time travel to the time where her mother gets pregnant. And the funny thing is, it's really different from what you would expect. But it's cool. The next character is Mulan, a character who pretends to be someone they're not. For this I only have the audiobook. It's Nightcircus by Erin Morgenstern, and I don't really have like a special character who pretends, but if you've read it or like listened to it, then you'll know that like every character in this is kind of pretending. Like if you haven't read it, it's about this circus. It's a really special circus, and there are like real magicians in there. So they like all pretend to be only the circus people and not the real people, kind of. Yeah. Then we have Toy Story, characters I wish to come alive. Now, kind of sad, I don't really have the book I wanted to show you, which is especially sad because it's my favorite book. But I do have another one. It's by Jenny Nuyen. She's my favorite author. This is her newest book, but the book I wanted to pick is Stormcatchers of Aradon. There are 2 books of it. One is Fairy Light and one is Witch Light. I don't know if they're English, but yeah, she's a German author, so I've read them in German, and like I said, they're my favorite books, but sadly enough I don't have them. But yeah, as I said, it's like about these Stormcatchers in this fantasy world, and I would love to spend an evening with these Stormcatchers because they're totally funny, and they're like these tough men who are Stormcatchers and we are really manly and blah and everything. But really when they're with here, for example, they are really sweet and take care of her and everything. So I think it would be really funny to spend an evening with them, or like a whole day or anything. And the last one is Disney Descendant, your favorite villain. I actually have two for this, I couldn't decide. The first one is The Last Elf by Sylvana de Marie? I don't know how to pronounce it. Sylvana de something. There are actually a few more books of this series. This is the first one, I haven't read the others. But what I liked about it is like it's about the last elf. And he is the last one of the elves because us humans, we are the villains. We kill the magic. Does that make sense in any way? Well, anyways, I kind of like the thought of this because even though it's fantasy and of course we're not really killing elves, yeah, like you can translate it to the real world, I guess. Yeah, somehow. And it's a great book, anyways. And the second one is Maddie Freeman. This is also the first part. The second part is up there, somewhere, there. And the third part isn't out yet, and I'm waiting for it. But in here, her father actually is the villain. And she kind of fights against her father because it's in the future. And everything is like everything's technological. Wow, okay, got it. And she kind of she meets this group of people who fight against this, and she is against it as well, and then she starts fighting against this with these people, and yeah. And yeah, as I said, plot twist, her father is the villain because he started this technological school system and everything, so yeah. And I'm really waiting for the third part. I want to read it. But it takes so long. Okay, anyways, these are the books for the Disney Book Tech. As I said, I'm not sponsored as the other people who did it, and I'm also not tagged, but I just love the idea, so maybe if you want to, you can do it yourself, and maybe you can watch some other Disney book tags or anything. Maybe you can get Disney to sponsor me for anything else. Would be great. Yeah, so I guess that's it. And if you haven't found something to smile for today, then read a book. It always helps. Bye.